Hi, I'm Levi, and this is a familiar dragon where we discuss things fantasy. Right now, this is my very first video, and to start off, I think I would like to cover a little bit in the 5th edition book, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Specifically, I'm not going to do a review. I think it's a little late. It's been out for a little while. Plenty of YouTubers have done a review, breakdowns, discussions on all types of things. But there's one subject in this book that I would very much like to talk about and form a discussion around, and that is the idea of the sidekicks. I've heard a lot of mixed feelings. Some people really like it. Some people really hate it. Personally, I think my opinion on it is that this is actually probably one of the best books to come out for the time it's coming out. Right now, with, shutdowns and things like that happening, people are staying at home. People are limiting their social interactions in a lot of ways. And I think that because there's such a large influx on people coming into 5th edition who have never played before at all, who are now playing, and not just that, they're playing with their mother, their father, their brother, sister, wife, husband, child. They're not going out and finding these parties of 5 people, 6 people. They're 1 or 2 most of the time. Right now, I'm about to start a campaign with my wife and my son. There's a lot of, how do you balance, issues when you run with 1 or 2 players. It's very easy to have one of your people want to make a character that's not, min-max to, get as much damage as humanly possible. And all of a sudden, if you are having a hard time surviving battles, somebody hits you, 1 good hit knocks you out, you're dead. And I think the idea of sidekicks is a really good one for just that. When you look in the book, it even recommends for parties of 2. I would say even a party of 3, maybe not too much higher than that, unless your party maybe needs the extra help, or maybe you're planning on having that sidekick become relevant in some other way, like they have a piece of knowledge or a way of getting into somewhere. Maybe you're building up for something, but I'd also be careful not to give something like a sidekick to someone just to rip it away by killing them or anything like that. But I really do think that for a small party, 2, 3 players, 1 player, there's I know people who are playing with only a DM and 1 player because they don't know or have the time or the lockdowns or whatever their reason is that they're not going out and finding these groups of people. So I think that this is a really good idea. One of the other things I've heard people bring up against the sidekick is, now my fighter or whatever with his pet wolf that is taking, warrior classes, is now stronger than the ranger with his or her animal companion. And I kind of want to debunk that a little bit, in my opinion anyways. If you look at the sidekick section of Tasha's Cauldron, you see a few things. First of all, it has to be a creature with the stat block in the monster manual or another D&D book. A challenge rating must be 1/2 or lower. Well, a lot of animal companions for rangers are 1/2 or lower. And I've looked through a sidekick, 1/2 or lower stat block, sidekick class section. To join the adventures, the sidekick must be a friend of at least one of them. This friendship might be connected by a character's backstory or subclass. Backstories or to an events that have transpired in play. Someone they saved or a childhood friend or pet, which it actually states in there, a pet. You go down, it gives you, who can play the character, maybe one of the people at the table or the DM or anything like that. But then it goes on to say, there's no limit to the number of sidekicks in a group. Having more than one per player character may noticeably slow down gameplay, combat. Starting level, leveling up, hit points, proficiency bonus, ability scores, and then right into the classes. I am not seeing anything, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I've been wrong before, but there's nothing in here that's actually stating that you can't have your ranger's companion be that sidekick who is a better friend to that character than her animal, or his or her. Sorry, one of my players, it was female character with one, so I keep saying that. But how many, how good of a friend to that person is their animal companion? How trustworthy? One of the main things they emphasize is trust. Your animal companion and you should have a lot of trust. Now, obviously, it's pretty rare to have an animal companion that can speak, unless, you have a druid or someone and an awakening spell is used. But I don't see why you can't have your 1/2 or lower creature that you've turned into your pet as a ranger, then turn around and become your sidekick. In fact, I think that would be the most easiest way of introducing a sidekick. I think that if you had even a group of 4 or 5 that you were having difficulties, you might be running for some younger kids or some new players, and they just need some help. Being able to provide a healer or a tank or a DPS like that. Just like that. Hey, here's this character you just saved the life of, and now they swear a blood oath until they've, shed blood on your behalf of saving your life in combat or whatever. You can now, here is this, sidekick who is betrothed to you character who killed, the person he was supposed to kill, or whatever the story is, and say now you have a temporary or possibly even permanent help through this series of missions or whatever. Again, small kids you might be playing with, being able to say, okay, now you have this little thing over to the side that's just pumping heals into you and doing nothing else. You're the DM, you're not a cruel DM, you're not going to mess with the little kids. You might, not attack the healer or whatever. Or you have your party that's insisted on getting a sidekick devastatingly watch him get dashed as he inevitably gets sent first into the tunnel to check for traps. That is how D&D works, and that's how it's going to play out in the long run. Eventually, there's going to be a danger that they don't want to face, that they will make this person face for them. But yeah, those are my general thoughts. I really like the class options. I really like how as they level up, they get a nice amount of spells, especially when you look at the spellcasters. While always being pretty useful, will never really overshadow your players, and I think that's really important too. They're obviously going to help you more at lower levels, which I like. And then higher levels, I'm not seeing anything in here that wouldn't make them beneficial to even a max plus campaign. So I'm really liking the sidekicks. I also like in Tasha's Cauldron the variant options they have for subclasses to be able to swap out. But that's a different point for possibly a different video. I think I'm going to wrap that up for today on this, but those are my thoughts on Tasha's Cauldron. I probably won't dip back into this book because it has been out for a few weeks or maybe even longer than that, and there's so many YouTubers that have covered that, but I don't feel like some of the aspects about the sidekicks have really been talked about too much when it comes to how useful they are, especially in our current situation and with how many people are playing with such smaller campaigns at the moment. I, for one, can admit to playing with far less people than I was before this all happened. So, I will definitely be incorporating sidekicks into my campaign, probably in the very near future. But I definitely think that every DM should at least look at them, and also, I always, as a DM, have the idea of if the players can do it, so can I. And I think it's going to be real awesome someday when I throw out something like a player character basically for them to fight that also has these minion sidekicks, and they're just really powerful and really devastating against them. So, yeah. But I think that's going to wrap it up for my very first video, and I hope that you guys like it, and if you really like it, maybe even watched it, subscribe and comment. Thank you.